To this day, you'll see people who hate Tetsuya Nomura, but they'll always say something like, he should stick to character designs, his character designs are great. You know what, 46-year-old Eric? I usually disagree with you, but this one, I'll stand by your side. He's my favorite creative in all entertainment, and I wanted to focus on an aspect I don't really see videos about. People will talk about his art and how it's evolved, mostly with his main characters. I don't really see much about his boss design, so I decided to take a lot of his iconic ones and give my thoughts. Plus, some Ultimania tidbits if there are some. Spoilers ahead for all the games being talked about. You have been warned. Released in 1992, Final Fantasy V was the first game Nomura had a hand in the creature design, as he was a debugger on Final Fantasy IV. During the development of Final Fantasy V, he was requested to draw a monster, and he did it so well they had him do all of them. For Final Fantasy V, I wanted to focus on the two most iconic villains from the game, Gilgamesh and Exdeath. Let's start with Gilgamesh, a minion of Exdeath in the story. His initial design was done by Nomura. According to him, it was a mixture of the first and second form that were eventually done by Yoshitaka Amano. A hulking mass of a man covered in armor from head to toe, minus his arm. His design comes off as he takes inspiration from Benkei and traditional European knights. Nomura definitely wanted to do a mixture of Benkei and Kabuki while paying homage to historical European figures so that he wouldn't move too far away from the classic medieval Final Fantasy the franchise was known for. As time went on, Nomura would come back to design Gilgamesh in his own way, alongside many other artists. His Gilgamesh would usually be similar to the final Amano one, but he'd add his own twist to it, like with Final Fantasy VIII, where he added a cloak, some bandages to his face, and 3 fake arms on his back. He's actually one of my favorite Nomura bosses. He's reoccurring, so when we see him again, we get a new take every time. And usually, he's one of the most fun fights you can do in the game that he's put into. Shout out to Final Fantasy XII and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Next we have Exdeath's tree and Neo Exdeath. The armored Exdeath was of course designed by Amano, but Nomura was tasked with designing the monster form. I think these are cool because I look at Neo Exdeath and go, how did you do all that, bro? Exdeath tree is cool to me. He's kind of like a blob, but he has all these wooden roots, and the armor being at the top is cool as hell because it reminds me of like an anglerfish, or if you've seen Bleach, Grand Fisher, the trick to pull in the prey. I know it's not the intent because you're not gonna get tricks by Exdeath, but I think it's really cool. Neo Exdeath, man. So good. Neo Exdeath is a fusion of him and the demons of the Rift. The story is Exdeath wants to combine with the Void, the all-consuming nothingness in the world of Final Fantasy V. He does so, and along with the demons of the world of Final Fantasy V, becomes a being that only wants to return everything to nothing. There are pieces of the demons included in Neo Exdeath, including Melusine, Twintania, and Necrophobe. In my mind, the man at the front has always been an Exdeath human form if he was able to get one. I think that is correct considering his Dissidia costumes that you get if you get the DLC in 012. Fantastic design all around. Lots of cool attention to detail, and I think this is something Nomura loved because he would be doing a fusion monster with the human thing multiple times throughout the history of working at Square Enix. I wonder if he'll bring this type of design back for KH4. Let's move on to Final Fantasy VI. For Final Fantasy VI, we will also stick to 2, the Statue of the Gods and Kefka. The Statue of the Gods is the penultimate boss. It consists of 3 tiers. Tier 1 is Visage, a very similar design to Amano's Garland, or the concept art of Garland he did for Final Fantasy I. I like that a lot. He feels very biological and also very mechanical too. He's very flesh-like, but he has pipes growing outside of his back that hold up the other tiers. He's very low-key compared to the stuff above him, and I like that the threat of this boss escalates as you go up. Tier 2 contains Tiger, Magic, Machine, and Power. Tiger to me feels like he represents the beast-like monsters that the party has faced up until then. Magic feels very Greek statue visually. I honestly couldn't tell you what Nomura was going for here, but it looks cool. Power, which I assume is the Kefka-like figure here, is supposed to represent his last moments as a man. Since the next tier, it seems to me that he's becoming one with a goddess and ascending into godhood, which we get with his final form. Kefka was a normal man until the experiments by the Empire were conducted on him, and his brain became so fucked up to the point that it made him think he was above others, and he would find a way to truly get there. The stuff that happens with the Triad helps him become the most powerful being in the world, the god of magic. In the concept art Nomura did, it seems like he was going for a Lucifer-like figure for God Kefka. It has an ego to it, doesn't it? Where it feels like he's declaring himself as the one true being and he has the power to wipe out all existence. Nomura probably also just likes using the angel motif, considering he uses it in the next game too. Kefka here feels distinct enough from Sephiroth that it doesn't feel like they're just copying each other. This concept art is genuinely fantastic. I really do like this. Final Fantasy VII was the first game where everything was Nomura, including main characters, many of whom are bosses. I decided to pick the weapons, Jenova, the Turks, and of course, Sephiroth. So let's start with the gang, the Turks. Reno, Rude, Elena, and Sung. They are, I think, modeled after the Yakuza. They do covert operations and work directly under Rufus, whatever dirty work he needs. This is expanded upon in the compilation, but I'm focusing on the OG FF7 right, because I didn't play before Crisis, unfortunately, and I hope they make it a standalone game instead of putting it in Ever Crisis. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Each Turk has a fight minus Sung. I enjoy the fact that they're each a different job for Final Fantasy, which is cool to me, because there aren't any jobs in name in this game, and it's not flat out stated in the game's dialogue or in the lore or anything like that. There's no traditional Final Fantasy job. Rude is obviously a monk, the easiest one to point out. Elena comes out to me as a freelancer, which seems like a cop-out, but she's mainly fighting with grenades, like a machinist, and can cast spells like a mage, and does kicks like a monk, so I don't know. Reno, I don't really know, but the baton is a cool thing to add. In Japanese shows, sometimes you have a delinquent who looks cocky and sticks his tongue out with the baseball bat, and Reno has these type of renders for the Advent Children and other compilation stuff, so I think Nomura was specifically going for that, even before the compilation, thus it being the theme in the OG FF7, like I'm saying. Next is Rufus Shinra, one of my favorite antagonists, and he gets even better in remake series, but that's not the point. We're not here to talk about his character. We're here to talk about his design, and I love his design. It has this air of superiority and righteousness to it. He wears all white compared to his Turks who wear all black. He gives off that he is in charge, especially more than his father, who did not wear a very imposing outfit like his son does. He definitely has the rich boy vibe going on, but it's not the sense of a brat or he's coddled by his father. Dad did let him do that, but Rufus is a businessman. He owns everything, and he does whatever he wants. It's so fucking cool. I like his shotgun too. Another machinist character, I assume. Now it's time for the weapons. I love the weapons. I also love Gundam. Do you love Gundam? I think Nomura loves Gundam. All of them, minus Ultimate, are based on a mobile suit. Emerald is close to the AMX-002 Albert Green, but it's almost one for one. Ruby and the MCM-03C Hyog differentiate from each other more than the Emerald weapon and its one do, but you can see in the arms that it's very clearly a homage to it. Diamond weapon and the Cubelli, like Emerald and AMX-002, are very close to each other. These two are my favorite from the weapon perspective and the Gundam perspective, because I really like their shoulders. The opening up and lasers just being there and shooting them out when you're doing that CG scene is also awesome. I can't wait for the weapon boss fights in Remake, dude. So excited! Now onto Jenova, the Calamity from the Sky. Has 4 forms and 3 of them are kind of the same, but in different colors. Jenova Birth, Life, and Death. Where these forms show up represent different parts of the story and what's going on in them. Like Birth on the ship representing the real start of the journey for the pursuit of Sephiroth. Life being where Aerith dies, and Death being where Cloud's whole worldview shatters. Definitely very extraterrestrial in design, while also having human-like features like breast and thighs between the alien feature. Jenova Synthesis is the complete version of Jenova. I do not know if it being shaped like a meteor is on purpose, but it feels intentional. Her being attached to a meteor-shaped shell because she crashes down from a meteor is pretty cool. And because, of course, the black materia summons a meteor. So, I could be bullshitting, but I make it sound believable. Now the big bad himself. Sephiroth Rebirth, or Bizarro Sephiroth, is Sephiroth evolving with his Jenova cells. He is no longer human. He has become something beyond comprehension. The thing at the bottom of him, I assume, is the heart of the planet you see before the boss fight starts, which is a really cool detail. The core seems to me to be his eyes because the lines remind me of an eyeball. As we move up, we see Sephiroth's more godlike features, where he's a hulking mass of his former self, while also where he has features of extraterrestrial life. The hair becomes antenna, and he has a woman on his head who I assume is Jenova. They both have wings, and definitely feels like a fallen angel motif. Also, something fun in this concept art, if you look over here, it's putting a Cloud scale. So Cloud is this much smaller than Bizarro Sephiroth. It's very cute. Now, on to Safer Sephiroth. Easily one of the best bosses Nomura has designed. He has transcended beyond even godhood and become his own thing. The one wing being made of man-made material is really good. The arch behind his back and the front of it being a halo is really nice. The multiple wings and clouds under him to show he is above even the heavens themselves is really nice. He is still Sephiroth at the end of the day, as you can see in his human-like features, but he has separated himself from Genova and become his own once again. He is perfect. Literally perfect. Final Fantasy VIII, I feel, doesn't have as many iconic characters or bosses as Final Fantasy VII, but the ones that are remembered well. Let's look at Cypher and his gang. Cypher and Squall are yin and yang, the black and white, the same, but different. He wears a long white trench coat with a red cross on the sleeves. He is modeled after a delinquent, much like Squall, but he's louder about it. Hence the blonde hair and white outfits. The cross on his shoulders is similar to the crest of the Cruz de Santiago Knights. He's always getting in your way when you confront Adia because his dream was to be a knight who defends a sorceress, which is why I think they use this specific crest. Fujin and Raijin are kind of like Cypher's Turks, but not really though. They are a dynamic duo. They both wear the same disciplinary community outfit, but Raijin feels like Nomura was starting to tap into a bit of his Islander styles that he'd do in Final Fantasy X, mixed with some of that Japanese manga buff kid thing they had going on in the 80s. I really like them both, and their weapon choice is really cool. The chakrams and the two-sided staff. Just by looking at them, you think they were hard and awesome and really cool and don't take shit from anybody, but they're actually pretty fun characters. So when you get to the fight with them at the end of the game, it's a very emotional moment that really resonated with me. So they ended up as some of my favorite characters from Nomura's catalog. Ultimecia has 3 form she takes for her boss fights: Normal, Griever, and Absorbing All Existence. She's the great sorceress from the future who wants to destroy Seed because it's prophesied that they would be her downfall. I love me a self-fulfilling prophecy. She, like Cypher, is an opposite, but to Rinoa. Her animal is a cat, unlike Rinoa's dog, has demon imagery with black wings and horns, while Rinoa has white wings on her blue outfit, and her outfit is red, which is considered the opposite of blue sometimes. Her next form is fused with the Griever, who is Squall's lion. The Guardian Force takes front and center here. It's a lion but has insect-like features to it. Also, you can see the final form Ultimecia takes flattened into it, which will expand once she goes to her final. In her final form, Ultimecia is still there, but at the bottom hanging down. So there's a little bit of human left in her, but it's mostly just gone and dangling. The red dress has expanded, the wings come out, so we get another fallen angel motif, and I really like the magic blades behind her back. This scared me as a kid because I didn't know what the face meant, and I still can't describe to you, but I think it's awesome now. Now, Nomura did not work on Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX was being done at the same time as Final Fantasy VIII, so his next game would be on the next generation of systems, the PlayStation 2. While he would contribute to Final Fantasy X's story and characters, he wouldn't be fully involved in it like the last 4 main lines. He was hooking up something else, something scary, something sinister. We'll talk about that later though. Let's get on to Final Fantasy X. Seymour is a character who was designed by Nomura for his base form. However, I don't know if his monster forms are also designed by Nomura. Jekt, for example, is someone designed by Nomura, but his monster form is not. I want to say this because I'm going to talk about Seymour. If anyone in the comments knows who designed Seymour's monster forms, please let me know. I will pin your comment at the comment section of the video, and I'll put a disclaimer here saying, hey, I don't know, but if it's him, then we're golden. Seymour is an interesting design. A mixed race character who has features of a human and a race in this game called the Guado. When I first saw him in game, I thought the red part was part of his body, but no, it is his outfit. A maester is why he has this outfit on. A maester is a priest of the highest order in this universe in the Church of Jevon. That's why his outfit comes off as something similar to how they are in the Vatican, while also being a bit more fantastical. He has the staff because, like Yuna, he's a summoner. The tattoos are actually a leftover from the initial idea of Final Fantasy X's level system. Instead of the spear grid, characters would have tattoos that represent what powers they have, if they were playable or temporarily playable, or bosses. The Guado bits of Seymour are his hair and blue veins, if you see the comparison here to other Guados. Now, on to Seymour Natus. Natus is Latin for born, because he has been reborn after being killed by the party in Guado Salon. He is blue for an amazing reason. His Guado hair has expanded into what looks like a chipped ulcer. He has a very cyborg-like look to him, which might be what they were going for, and he has a sidekick on him called the More Body. I'm a fan of this two-headed bug thing with the tail similar to a scorpion's, because it's very funny considering you can use bile on him. So, like, what's the tail for, bro? You not store poison in there? I don't think so. Seymour Flux is next. His hair structure has expanded, and he seems to have a molded with the Mortar Body, creating a new version of it called the Morticus. Seymour himself hasn't changed much outside of that. The ship-like body for him is very cool, and the Morticus is actually one that did change a lot. It has become kind of the over-encompassing center creature of this monster form, and in game it's able to attack the party more aggressively. I like that it has two big swords on it also, it's really cool. Last but not least, Seymour Omnis. He is a crystal version of Natus, basically. The only difference is the 4-circle disc called the Mortiphasm. Yeah, the big bug that was on Seymour has evolved into this disc-like being that tells you what element his boss fight is going to be. Not really much else to say there, but it's really cool, and I love the music for this guy. This song is incredible. It's time to tackle the Juggernaut, the sinister creation Tetsuya Nomura was working on during the development of Final Fantasy IX and X. So the next 7 games on this video will be Kingdom Hearts. So if you don't care about Kingdom Hearts and you're only here for the Final Fantasy stuff, nice seeing you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you subscribe and like the video. And you're back for the next video. But if you do like Kingdom Hearts, strap in because the next few minutes, probably more than a few, will be Kingdom Hearts related. So hope you're excited. Kingdom Hearts 1 has many iconic Heartless and bosses. Nomura was really in his bag making designs in this game because there's different varieties, but they all still feel like they belong in the same universe. So let's start off with the first one, Darkseid. Darkseid is a culmination of the shadow enemies creating the ultimate Heartless. Usually, pure-blooded Heartless, like the Shadows, don't have any heart symbols on them, but Darkseid does. This is because Darkseid is supposed to represent the emptiness of the heart, the dark side of it, and being an abstract symbol of darkness of the heart. I think it's cool to do that, because later in the game, once you get to actual worlds, you run into Heartless that do have symbols on them, and hurt people to take their hearts. Those are artificial Heartless. Darkseid also has the classic Nomura wings. Thank you, Tetsuya. I really do love this design because of the wings, the curved feet, its cartoony features. It's very simple, but it separates it from his realistic Final Fantasy stuff and sticks out, making the Shadow and the Darkseid very iconic characters that Nomura has designed. Next is the Guard Armor. Guard Armor has 2 forms and 2 color schemes. Guard Armor is a Heartless made of individual Heartless to form a mech-like creature, like a Super Sentai. We have the armored torso, gauntlets, and hammer legs. I like the final mix version of this guy because he has Gundam colors, which is cool because in his second form, his body parts flip around and he has his mask open making a robot face like he's a Sentai mech or a Gundam. The hands become the feet become the hands, and we get a beam attack. The whole shebang. It's an awesome design. Next, we'll focus on Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. He has 4 forms we're going to be looking at. The main villain of the story. Ansem is a Heartless who casts off his body and has no form until he takes over Riku. After he takes over Riku, he becomes Dark Riku. Dark Riku has purple and black bodysuit, covered in veins, and his arms are blood red, a demon winged sword, and his suit is tight with a black heart in the middle. It's perfect. It's so emo in the early 2000s, and a cool way to portray someone being taken over by the darkness. I love it. I need more. Thankfully, he would give us more of that later in the franchise. After going to the end of the world, his full forms are revealed. We see Ansem as a very built man. The outfit looks like a very lavish Victorian era one. The puffy jacket, the elegant long boots, and the white gloves all give off this old sense of superiority and power. Phase 2, he gains a guy on his back called the Guardian. This Heartless has a hole like Darkseid and bandages covering his body, which gives you the feeling that he's being subjugated by Ansem. Especially when we get a retcon later in the franchise with Dream Drop Distance and Kingdom Hearts 3. Ansem's final form is called the World of Chaos. Guardian has now become the ultimate Heartless. It's made of multiple creatures and has donned an outfit while Ansem has lost his. The big sleeves, the skeletal pieces running down his body, the monster heads, the snake. It feels like Final Fantasy, but also trying to be its own thing. I love it so much. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories and Re-Chain Memories Heartless bosses aren't new, so we won't talk about them. We are, however, introduced to a new set of villains, the Organization, who will be around for the rest of the game, minus birthplace. Not really much to say design-wise, full outfit because everyone wears the same black coat. We will be focusing on individual pieces of them, like their weapons and hair. So, let's go! Let's talk about the Basement Boys first. First, we have Lexius. He is a brick. My guy is Earth Elemental, and his weapon is a tomahawk. His hair is brown like the Earth. In some cases, hair doesn't really mean anything for Organization's elemental things, but in some cases it does, so when it does, we'll focus on it like this part. Next, we have Zexion. His gray hair to me comes off as a way to show his scheming that he does throughout the game. He tries to use others in ways to achieve his goals that he himself can't. The book, I think, also represents his intelligence, showing that he is a smart guy who's book smart but not really street smart. So he's not really a fighter like that like the others. Vexen is a case where his hair doesn't really rep him as a boss. That's his weapon. He has blonde hair, but his blue shield is the same color as his ice elemental. He is a mad scientist that wants to run experiments, and he does so in Kingdom Hearts 3. And when you fight him, you just gotta, use Fire Elemental to take him down. You only really fight him here and in Kingdom Hearts 2's Data Battle. Next, let's make our way upstairs to meet Axel, the fan favorite. He has fire-based chakrams, and I gotta say, I really love chakrams, so I'm glad Nomura keeps bringing them back. It's clear that Axel is supposed to be just Reno, but for the Organization. There is some stuff to him that is not exactly like Reno. He has some of his own things going on, but he has the same voice actors. Rest in peace, Keiji Fujiwara. He has the same red hair, and he's kind of like an in-the-shadow sneaky guy who does anything he can for his boss. Next is Larxene, Electric-based ninja assassin, so her hair is obviously yellow. Her nasty ass vibes are awesome. The electricity element fits her pretty well since she's very shocking and does whatever she wants to Sora and Riku. Finally, we have Marluxia. Since he is the final boss, he has more to him than others. We have the base form where he's pink and uses the scythe, and he's wind based, I'm pretty sure. He's pink mostly because his blades are flower petals, like sakura flower petals, so it would make sense to use that instead of green or whatever. In phase 2, he rides on an angelic nobody, who holds 2 scythe blades and a pincer at the bottom. She seems to be an evolved version of his normal Reaper nobody. Phase 3, it evolves further, growing large wings, carrying its own scythe, and becoming more human. Some people theorize that it's supposed to be his sister, but I don't think that's right now. Maybe retcon later it will be, which would make perfect sense to me, but right now I think it's just supposed to be a Reaper nobody fully evolved. Next will be Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2 has its own set of Organization members that are the rest of the ones who did not get murked in Rechain of Memories. Demyx uses a Sitar, thus he's got a mullet and dirty blonde hair which feels very delinquent-like. It could just be a standard rot guy Nomura was going for, and I could be overthinking, but it definitely feels delinquent because he has blonde hair. Luxord is kind of just a guy with a cool earring, which isn't a problem, but it's a very kind of mundane design. He's a gambler, thus he has cards. Honestly, I think the card stuff is pretty cool, making him one of my favorite Organization members. Xaldin, design-wise, is the character who has the most Disney to him. His hair is very beast-like, which is probably why he's in the Beast world. He's a Dragoon too, but unlike most, my guy carries 6 lances. Fucking beast mode, man. I love his boss fight too. It's annoying as hell, but it's amazing visually. Sax has long blue hair and pointy long ears. When he goes in Berserk, the X on his face grows, so does the hair, and he gets more beast-like. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be based on a werewolf, so he's the other beast guy of the Organization, but it's not as prominent as someone like Xaldin. The moon gives him power, and it just makes you wish that more Organization members had stuff that was based on things like the moon or the tides or something like that, or the winds. I think environmental power-ups like that are pretty freaking cool. Xigbar, another fan favorite. His laid-back attitude is a farce. In reality, he's a sadistic manipulator and thinks about ways to mess with Sora and the gang. His design has 2 different colors in his hair, which are gray and black, which you could attribute to age, but I think it's supposed to represent how two-sided he is, especially when you get to Dream Drop Distance and Kingdom Hearts 3. You realize that he's been using everybody he's ever encountered for his own means. And now onto the superior king of all nobodies, Xemnas. In his base form, he is Ansem's nobody twin. He is the other side of Xehanort's heart. He doesn't use a Keyblade, instead he controls lightsabers, which I think is really fucking cool. He can also shoot lasers in his boss fight. He also has the ability to float around and put up walls of nothingness. In Phase 2, he dons the Keyblade armor that Xehanort would use back in his student days, which I think is supposed to imply that Xemnas himself can use the Keyblade, but he chooses not to, so that Roxas and Xion could do the work for him. Followers also wouldn't question him when it came to gathering hearts for Kingdom Hearts. The addition for this version of the armor though is that it has no body symbols on it, which aren't there in Birth by Sleep. I think it's really nice and adds to it. Also adding to it is the gray, representing the in-between of light and darkness, what he's supposed to be because he's nothingness. It's really cool. His final form is similar to Sora's, but it's black and white, kind of like Sora's final form. Fans call it Zebra Xemnas, and I kind of stick to the name too because it just makes the most sense. I also like it because it's slowly pushing throughout this story that Xehanort is supposed to be propped up as Sora's opposite. 358 over 2 days final boss is the one I'll focus on for that game. It made sure that we were all crying by the end of it, whether you watch the movie or play the game. I think it would hit harder if you played the game. We're talking about Xion. After the suffering she and Roxas have to endure, they must complete the torture ritual by fighting each other. Xion's forms are amalgamations of nobodies and people she has interacted with throughout the story. Phase 1, she has wings, ninja kunai, and a long blade. Phase 2, a keyblade. In Phase 3, she has gauntlets. In her final form, her head becomes Sora shaped, and she starts to wield 2 keyblades. I almost forgot someone, but we'll put it here since it still involves Roxas and takes place after 358 over 2 days. Twilight Thorn. Twilight Thorn, while low ranking, is the only boss nobody that isn't a leader of the organization. So, I decided we should talk about it. A giant walking bodysuit that is the opposite of Darkseid. Pure white for the most part, but fades into gray as you move down its body. No curves, all sharp. It also has a scarf. I also like that the Japanese name is a clear reference to the Twilight Zone, because it's literally called Twilight Zone. Birth by Sleep introduced a new faction of enemies named the Unversed. I was debating on just doing Vanitas and Xehanort, but I decided to talk about a couple of my favorite Unversed before we get to them. Unversed are creatures created from Vanitas who feeds off the negative emotions in people's hearts. Let's start with the Symphony Master. This is one of my favorite designs that Nomura has done. A marching band conductor who controls instrument-shaped Unversed. We got a violin, drum, and trumpet. The note-shaped earpieces and lightning-shaped wand are really cool additions. The final mix version has different color outfit, which I don't like as much since I love traditional marching band outfits, but I still think it's pretty cool. The best part of the boss is it conducts its own boss theme. The instruments play in tune with it. Absolutely wonderful design going on here. Trinity Armor is another mech-like monster design in the franchise, so I had to talk about it. 3 Unversed fused into one. Alpha Armor is the torso and head, Beta Armor are the arms, and Gamma Armor makes up the legs. Each has their own function separately and their own little design quirks, like Alpha looks like a little pod holding someone, Beta has propeller claws, and Gamma holds the head, fused together, making this awesome mech. Vanitas has a suit similar to Dark Riku. However, his chest does not have a heart. He comes off as darkness, similar to a purebred Heartless. When his face takes shape, it becomes a Dark Sora one. His Keyblade has 2 eyes, and I think the only reason is because it's sick as hell, no real reason for it other than that. I love how he looks when he fused with Ventus. Nothing really changed, but Ventus has yellow eyes now. Let's skip Xehanort for now, since Kingdom Hearts 3 is his main big game, and he'll have more to talk about there than he does in Birth by Sleep. Dream Job Distance, we will be talking about 3 bosses in this one. So let's get into it. Commantis is a nightmare who shows up in Riku's visit to the grid. It is a praying mantis with a disc weapon for a body, which I absolutely love. The digital tech lines and little lights on this body help it stand out from other nightmares within the game, where it feels like it can only exist in the grid. Next is the Anti-Black Coat, a nightmare that has taken Sora hostage so it will keep him trapped in the dream that Xehanort could use his body as a vessel. He's supposed to be Xehanort's nightmares manifested. I think this because some of his moves are similar to young Xehanort's battle, but not exactly. He has an organization coat, but with a little bit more flair to him. The magenta flames really add a nice touch to make him stand out from his brothers and sisters. Young Xehanort is the 19-year-old Xehanort from the past who wants to leave his island to explore a bigger world, and was invited to the future by Ansem. His Keyblade is based on a clock, and takes the blue bits from his mysterious figure version in Birth by Sleep. Not really much to say about him. He looks like a younger version of Xemnas or a younger version of Terran. Now, on to Kingdom Hearts 3. Master Xehanort. He wears an outfit similar to Ansem Seeker of Darkness, but doesn't have the yellow trimmings or the white on his jacket. It's all gray and black. He is also bald as hell. He dons a new Keyblade armor that is different from the one he used in his younger years that Xemnas took. The armor is a goat, which I can only assume is supposed to be Baphomet, which I think is a thing because the series is starting to get more biblical ever since Union Cross, with the 7 foretellers being each 7 deadly sin. The helmet of the armor is actually taller than his head, which you can see his head through the bars on the helmet. I think the Keyblades that he has warped around him in Remind are supposed to symbolize the wings of a fallen angel without actually doing it, which I think is really neat. On to our last design for the video, Yozora, the newest addition to the Kingdom Hearts roster. He has a very similar look to Riku in Kingdom Hearts 3. On his jacket he has a skull next to some Keyblade crossbones, and the skull has a very similar hair to Sora. He has no body memorabilia on his earrings and his shirt alongside the crown and heart symbols. He also has a chocobo zipper. His weapon is a laser crossbow and blade. He's able to warp, delete, and rebuild things throughout the boss fight. He also has blue and red eye heterochromia. There's a lot of little fun things in there, and it helps him become one of the coolest characters Nomura has ever designed. Lots to pick from, and you can think about, well, how will this be important to the future of the franchise? Thank you so much for watching this video. It was a long one in the making, because I was trying to think of what to say and I didn't want to repeat myself multiple times, even though I'm pretty sure I did. And I could have worded myself better, but I'm not the best at script writing. I'd rather use my regular script writing skills than resort to something like ChatGPT. Next big video, I don't know, but it'll be coming. I'm going to be doing a few short videos in between there, because I'm currently working on 2 big Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy XV videos for the anniversary and the release of Part 3, which will be next year. So I hope you guys are ready for that, and hopefully we see Kingdom Hearts 4 this year too, which will be pretty freaking epic. I also want to say, I know I didn't cover every single boss that Nomura has designed, and I even missed a few in some games that I did cover. I know I could have covered stuff like The World Ends With You. So I do want to come back to this topic and do another video on it in the future, and I think I'll have a good time with it, because I really had a fun time with this one too. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and peace from Quizzy Games, everybody.